Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Monday live stream. And what a day it has been so far. So today, we see that the price is fluctuating greatly. And I always like to take a look at Ivan on Tech. He's got some good information out there. And I was just always checking out this bull mania. And when he put it out that Bitcoin was bullish, but instead of here 5 days ago, I was like, I don't really believe that. But it is interesting how things play out. This is from Bull Theory. Over on X. I linked their profile in the description. Definitely give them a follow. Always have great information. And I say it just like this, which is the basis for today's thumbnail and title. The market just surprised everyone. Past 2 hours, over $1 trillion. Let me say that again. $1 trillion. Not a billion, not a couple billion. $1 trillion has been wiped out from gold and silver, while nearly $800 billion has been added to crypto and the US stock market. Gold is down 1.78%, wiping out $650 billion in value. Silver is down 6%, wiping out $340 billion. So let me do some quick math. So it's almost $1 trillion, a little bit, just like 10 billion short. NASDAQ is up about 2%, adding 610 million. S&P is up about 80 billion. Russell is up about 50 billion. And Bitcoin is up 6.7%, adding $80 billion. I have to tell you, it's quite interesting, especially today. And we can see here that I didn't even know this was actually happening until I got an alert on my phone from this. And I was like, wow, this is a pretty good day. Finally, Bitcoin is potentially acting like a store of value. Now, of course, I don't think this will actually hold up. I don't think we're going to keep going up and to the right, and it's going to be a great store of value. But these are the types of rallies we like to see. Almost $5,000 in roughly 2 hours. March 2nd, roughly 10 o'clock Atlantic Standard Time, 65,000, all the way up to a peak of 69,850. Let's just round up and say 70K for that one. So pretty good. And of course, take a look at gold and silver. And of course, $1 trillion is not too fantastic for, of course, the precious metals market. They have been thumping the crypto digital asset market for the last year or so. And there's no denying that. And I tip my hat to the gold and silver bugs who have held on for decades. Well, I mean, not that long, but for quite some time. And they've done a great job, and that's showing us how it's done. It's just kind of hanging in there for year after year, decade after decade, going to school uphill, snowstorm both ways, that type of thing. Congratulations to them. But because their market cap is so high, $1 trillion gets wiped out, and here we are. So in the last 24 hours or so, you can see a little bit of a drawdown. If we take a look at silver itself, again, a little bit down farther, but not too bad, but definitely off its all-time high of $120. But of course, we are down roughly 50%, or actually 42, 43% from our all-time high. So that is what is going on in the markets right now. So the question you have to ask is, well, why? Why is this happening right now? What's going on? Well, there's a skirmish in Iran. I think we can all agree that's going on. We can't really say per se it is a war because of the War Act 1992. And because of that, we can't say it is a war per se. It has to go through congressional oversight for them to say that. And of course, they got notified after 48 hours, which they're doing right now. So there is a military conflict going on in Iran. However, there's also something just happened just today. This just broke about, 30, 45 minutes ago. U.S. court rejects Trump's request to delay $175 billion in tariff refunds. Now, of course, as you all know, this was actually shot down by the Supreme Court. President Trump came out and his administration said, well, we're not going to do it that way, but we're still going to impose tariffs on these different countries. And of course, those are tariffs that are paid for by American companies. So because of that, $175 billion in refunds is going to go out. Companies can now move forward with reclaiming duties they were required to pay. If fully processed, this would mark the largest trade-related payout in U.S. history. And Joey 74037 says it right. It is crazy times. And these are the things that are going on. So, of course, this is a boom for the market. That's probably why S&P 500 is up, why the Dow, why everything else is up. And, of course, gold and silver, maybe they just took a little backstreet to Bitcoin, the digital asset market. So there's that's going on. And then also in the background for crypto, maybe this is just how things happen. There's always a little bit of a rally. We talked about this many a time. This is the drawdown documentation that we put out about 2 weeks ago or so. And you can see that in the midterm years, which, 2014, 2018, 2022, now 2026, we always go from our all-time high in Q4, otherwise known as a 4-year cycle. We hit all-time highs in Q4 after the halving. And of course, we have a drawdown. And the first drawdown in 2013, it only took like 2-3 weeks. Yeah, we're down 50%. But you'll notice here that this is in December. In March, we had a little bit of a rally as everything just kind of bled out, a little March action, a little bit of a rally, and then we dropped down to April. Same thing happened in 2017. We dropped down in February. We had a nice little rally in March. We dropped down in April. Same thing happened again in March 2022, a little bit of a rally and drop down in April going into May. And we'll probably have the same thing, but this is going forward in 2025, 2026. So it's could be a little bit of this action. Tariffs, looks like they're going to be going in for the refunds. Businesses are actually to disperse that, right? Or it's just the timing, and that's just where we're at. Midterm years are not very favorable, not just to the crypto digital asset market, but for all markets. So I don't expect this to go up and to the right, especially what's going on with Iran and globally. And just to take a step back and not get too bullish, because that's not what this channel is about. Just remember, we had 5 straight months negative price action. This doesn't happen too often. And this has been somewhat brutal. We can go back to October. That was the all-time high. That was October 6th. And then we kind of bled out 4%, 18% roughly, 3%, January 10, and February we finished up strong at negative 14.8%. Now, March is looking pretty green, but then again, so did February last time. And look how well that hung out. So again, this is where the rules come in. If you have a little bit of a profits, RW says, I think the bottom is in, you could be right. If you have a little bit of profits, don't forget, take those profits. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Think of it's all gone. Everything's a scam, it's up or otherwise. Don't leave things in exchanges and try not to use as much leverage like 50 or 100x. 2 or 3x, okay, I'll give it to you. But that's what we have right now, and that is what is going on in just our little sphere. And if we take a look, there's also some other bullishness. And this is Tom Lee from BitMine, everybody's favorite bull character. And let's just get a little bit more dose of hopium to bring us all up. So let's take a listen to what Tom has to say.
Part of me, Scott, just thinks this has just been a tough February, and it makes people feel like it's a bear market, and we're down 1% for the month. I think March is going to be a turnaround month for the better. I don't think the economy's slowing. In fact, if you look at things like rejection rates for trucking, it actually points to the economy probably accelerating. So I think if there is a growth scare, it's really just more of a risk premium than it is companies actually delivering news that would scare you about the economy.
Okay, so basically Tom said that the economy is accelerating, which I don't know if he's taking a look at the GDP numbers, but we are down, I think, 1.4 from a high of like 2.5. But I mean, regardless, Tom's a bull, and sometimes it's better. It's better to be wrong and bullish and right as a bear, unless you're shorting things, of course. But as we can see here, I will say that BitMine, which is a digital asset treasury company founded, well, Tom is the CEO. And they've been doing some pretty great things with Ethereum. And I got to tell you, this actually boosts me up as far as bullish on Ethereum. BitMine just put this out about 5 hours ago. They're providing its latest holdings update for March 2nd, $9.6 billion in total crypto and moonshots. Roughly 4.5 ETH at 1,976. It's actually more now. And they also have 193 Bitcoin, 200 million stakes in Beast Industries. Yes, that's right, Mr. Beast. 14 million stakes in ACO. And they just kind of lay it out like, look, we're doing not too bad. Stocks price is actually holding steady, and we're staking our ETH, and we're actually have revenue positive. However, overall, they are in the negative. Let's not boost it up too much. But if you take a look at the stock for BMNR, the last day, well, they're up almost 8%. 5 days, 10%. It's pretty good. 1 month, okay, you got me. They're down 10. 6 months, okay, you got me again, 52%. But if we take a look over the year, I'm just going to have you guess, when do you think they announced that they were adding Ethereum onto their balance sheet? Yeah, you guessed it, that big, huge spike right there. So beforehand, they were at they were trading at boring $6, $5, $4, $5, $4. Then the announcement, they hit 135. Hope people didn't buy that at the top. But they've been pretty sideways for, even though Ethereum has been getting brutalized and doing pretty good. Look, just that simple announcement over here, the stock price is doing well. Unfortunately, the treasury itself, I think, is underwater with the Ethereum that they've bought. But I will give it to Tom to stick it out and put all this information out about how they're holding strong and not selling. That, I think, is a good sign. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comments section. But there is one thing that Tom said, that we're accelerating as far as the economy. I don't know if that's, I mean, you can pick different data points, obviously. But this is from bar chart. Just so you know, almost 5% of all household debt is now delinquent. This is the highest rate in nearly a decade. So and of course, also if you take a look at credit card debt, we're over $1.2 trillion. So if you take a look at that delinquency, people are having a hard time paying bills. I'm not for sure if the economy is accelerating. Let me know if that's how you feel things are going on and what you see in the comment section. Just another data point to take a look at. And also, with everything that's going on in Iran, this is from Mario Fall, nuclear reactor in Iraq has been bombed, according to a foreign report. So that's never good when a nuclear reactor is bombed. But there is one caveat. I believe this is a defunct nuclear reactor under massive amount of cement. We'll see how that works out. That was just broken about 4 hours ago. Also, a data center in United Arab Emirates was reportedly hit during Iranian strikes. That's never good. And then also, because of all the strikes and all the things that are going on, I believe oil is probably going to pump like crazy because there is a little skirmish for the strait to getting all the oil out. And then also, European natural gas prices have surged over 50% as Qatar halts production of the largest LNG plant in the world following drone attacks. So if you are from any part of the EU, I'd like to hear from you in the comments section. Is that what is going on? Because if the gas prices are surging 50%, what do you think is going to happen with the price of oil in the short term? Now, long term, it could be pretty good. But as far as like the economy accelerating, we'll see if that plays out. So having said all that, that is why, even though we just took a look at gold and silver and say it's going down, this is actually my portfolio in iTRUST, my Roth IRA. If we're taking a look at like long-term horizons, which if you're watching my channel, you're probably more long-term than a trader because I don't really talk too much about trades. But I see things going pretty well. Actually, silver and gold, I didn't even really think about it as far as like this was going to be the biggest part of my Roth IRA. I thought Ethereum and Solana would beat the tar out of them. But over time, specifically this year, gold and silver are my number 2 and 3 hold. Crazy. So if you're looking for a retirement account, Roth IRA, definitely recommend iTRUST. Links in the description. You have gold, silver, Bitcoin, and a whole host of altcoins if you're into that. I mean, I personally am, so that's just me. And again, as a quick reminder, if you're looking to contribute to last year for your retirement account as a Roth IRA, you have until April 15th to do so, if you're an American, obviously. And there's certain specifications and limits to that. There's a link in the description. I explain all those things. Again, what's great about a Roth IRA, when you're trading all this stuff here, taxed exempt. And that's it for today. So look, like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. When we talk about is relatively time sensitive. Now let's get into the fun part, Q&A. I'll answer all your questions to the best of my abilities, and we will go from there. All right. Fred says, thank you, Fred, for commenting. Right now, people have a hard time to fill up their cars in the Netherlands. I wonder if right now is there, because I mean, we just started this skirmish, this military action. I wonder how fast this actually affects the outlying, countries for oil and the distribution and production. of said oil, well, distribution. This will be interesting times. So Fred, good to note. Noted. I'll put that down. Fred said, yeah, gas went up a lot. So did petrol. Gas. Joey, credit card debt is catching up to student loan debt for being more than yearly cheated to yearly interest. And yeah, just to go back to that. As far as like growth rates, what's 1.4? So, you know, we had, well, first of all, let's go back in time. And what is the definition of a recession? You know, you have 2 quarters of economic production, and that we can take a look at GDP. Now, there's been a difference on how that is reported or exactly what they say is a recession. So don't take my word for it, because if you take a look at Q3, this is in 2023, during the prior administration, you went from 4.7 to 3.4 GDP and then to 0.8. Well, that's 2 quarters of economic production, yet no recession, because there are now other factors to take in consideration. Also, it was an election year, so never good to say it's a recession. But here we are, 3.8, 4.4 to 1.4. That's a huge drop off. And some would say, well, because here in the States, we had a government shutdown, one of the longest, if not the longest, correct me in the comments section, for the government shutting down, which affected greatly the GDP. I don't know if that's 100% true, but it's what they say. At 4.4 to 1.4, we'll see. So we'll see what happens in Q1 2026. We're not going to get that until roughly April, but there's assessments abound. But if Tom thinks that we're accelerating, well, Tom's never wrong, right? Tom Lee's never wrong. Got great price predictions. That's called sarcasm. I do like Tom, though. He's quite entertaining and very smart, very, very smart guy. Yeah, I think some of that does sound bad. Yeah, D-Sneaker. Thanks for bringing BMR to my attention. That's an easy no-brainer. Just so everybody knows, I was shilling that. I was shilling that because I own it and I want it to do well. So, take it for what it is. Wow. People trying to fill up and we run out already. Prices going up fast. That's in the Netherlands, everybody. Ale says Louisiana. The other acid news, I'd say people are struggling. Everything is rented. Thankfully, I've never fallen into that trap. Thank goodness. Yeah, I see. I mean, well, I'm in Puerto Rico, so everything's expensive anyhow. So, I mean, if we have more of an increase as far as like goods, it's going to be very bad. And it's not like gas is cheap over here. It's not like when, you know, going and living in Houston. Everything's cheap over there. It's great. But yeah, I can see this actually happening. Air travel fares are fluctuating like crazy. I believe they just opened up. Actually, they just shut down the airport in Dubai, and today they just opened it up. So hopefully nothing happens over there. Also talked to Guy from Coin Bureau. He says everything's fine over there, even though there was a couple of drone strikes that happened. So hopefully they're going to be okay. We'll find out, because in let's see, on Thursday we'll be doing the NFA live show on Guy's channel for a Coin Bureau. So we'll see. The big money will milk the last drops of this, probably so. Nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with dealing with your sphere of control, like we talk about, right? People who are investors, they can't go out there and battle everything out, but they can do what's best for them and their family and their portfolio. So don't blame them. Yeah. Anybody's thoughts on midterms? Too early? No. Not looking good. We'll see. Peter says, Tom was so wrong about Ethereum last market cycle. And Peter is actually so right. Tom was extremely wrong. But remember, you know, price predictions, I've given them, and they were awful back in 2021. This is why when people ask me for price predictions, I always love it when I do it. And I always tell them, Bitcoin will be somewhere between $5 and $500,000. And so far, I am batting 1,000 with that. I'm undefeated in price predictions. Because when you give like a price prediction, you're just setting yourself up for failure. It never really happens. But it is good hopium or hope to say like, oh, well, I could actually go there. I still think that, you know, Bitcoin can do extremely well and can hit. I mean, look, my whole base case for buying Bitcoin and some other digital assets are as such. As long as the government continues to debase the currency by printing fiat money, the price of Bitcoin and assets will always go up. So why wouldn't I invest into assets such as Bitcoin, such as gold and silver, such as real estate, such as land and even equities? Why wouldn't I put my money there as opposed to having it being a savings account melting like an ice cube? That's why I do what I do. I think that's why you do what you do probably too. Tom keeps buying though. Yeah, Tom and Michael Saylor. Wouldn't that be a heck of a podcast? Tom and Michael Saylor sitting down just talking. Daniel's here. Any opinion on Monad? Monad is, so if you guys don't know Monad, he was the guy who talked about a meme coin super cycle. Don't laugh. Yeah, it didn't work out like that, but apparently he's holding all the way down. He had like tens of millions of dollars, and now I think he's got a couple. So I just said, you know, Monad to me is the king of round trips. Good luck to that guy. Thank you, Joey. Rob at 100% listened to his price prediction. This man knows it. See, thankfully, recognition, I'll take it. I got to tell you, there's nothing better than the bear market because everybody's kind of gets it. They gets the inside jokes, they get the things, they know where we're going, so no one's like really freaking out here. Like, oh, it's great. When we get into the bull market, people, it just gets crazy. This is so relaxing. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Joseph says, how are we feeling about Canton? So everybody talks about it. I didn't really pay too much attention to it, except there was a massive amount of action behind it. And also, I didn't really think a lot of it, but again, I've been dabbling into the Ivan on Tech bull mania. And I took a look at it, I'm like, which one's bullish? I'll be damned if this wasn't right. So Canton was up 27% since they became bullish, which was like about 40 days ago or so ago. 1 month, 1 day, turned bullish, they're up 27%. Rain got bullish, they're up 151%. 3 months ago, though. Hedera, bullish 2 weeks. Now, they're not perfect, right? Like Avalanche, they went bullish 5 days ago, it's down 2%. Anyhow, if you want to check out just the training on this, it's free. There's a link in the description. It says Ivan on Tech Bull Mania. It's pretty interesting. And if you know, if we would have listened to Ivan, and also CTO Larson, who actually did a good call. They were talking about this, like these drop-offs, and I think in November, December, when you could have gotten out at, you know, roughly 105, 110. Not too bad. So yeah, so Canada actually owns some, but I own a lot more Bitcoin real estate. Canada does not follow the crypto market. And you know who else talked to me about Canton, which was offline? When we were doing the NFA live show, it was Guy, because they'd just done like a deep dive in their Coin Bureau Club. And I was like, I keep hearing about this. I should check it out. And here we are. Rusty. Bull markets are the worst. Should I buy? Should I sell? If I sell now, I'm missing multiple X's. Bear market, I'm buying. Yeah, and you know, it just comes down to that whole rule that we have, the take profits, the last rule. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't do the best job I did. I could have done better. I could have done way better. But I did take some profits, did roll them into real estate. Works out pretty well. All right. But you know, I was listening to Ben's channel this morning, and he was talking about the March rallies. And he was talking about how, like, in 2024, Bitcoin hit around 100K. And I was like, geez, can you imagine just selling Bitcoin at 100K in 2024 and just watching it drop down like crazy? I mean, it would also hurt when it went to 125, but still, you had 2 years to do whatever you wanted to do. And now here we are. And I was just, I was like, yeah, you know, just take those profits for whatever it is. I know people will say like Sailor will say, never sell your Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin's freedom, and you know you're tethered to a job that you don't want to be at, and you got to commute, and you got bills that you won't need to pay, and it's more stressful than what it is, then is that freedom? Doesn't feel like freedom. Just saying. Joseph says, I felt really weird selling a lot of my Bitcoin at 98K. Now I still feel bad for selling, but glad I took that profit. You know, it's one of those things like when you take profits, it's so weird because we're so used to buying. And then when you sell and you take those profits, which I got to tell you is not easy after so much time. But when you get it and when you start doing a little bit, then all of a sudden, like the pressure kind of comes off. You're like, oh, okay. And like you can pay for some things. You're like, oh, this feels pretty good. And you don't feel like you're like tethered to a certain situation. And it feels kind of relaxing. The only thing that I say is kind of like the down part of it is if you sell everything, which I don't think I'll ever do that. When you sell everything, it's kind of like you're out of this, you feel like you're kind of out of a community for a little bit. You're like, huh. Like I sold a business not too long ago, and it was our sports facility. And when I sold it, I was kind of out of it already. We had somebody who ran it, and we sold it to that person. And when you sell that business, you're like, oh, that's it, I'm out. And you're kind of out of the community. And that's, I think, the bigger thing. But the great thing about Bitcoin and crypto digital assets is when you sell a little bit and you take those profits and it's for the things that you wanted to do and for you and your family, you'll never be out of the community. I know people say, no, I'm going to sell and go away. It's like that scene. It's like that scene in The Godfather. I try to get out, they keep pulling me back in. So if you sell a little bit, it's going to be okay. You're still part of the community. You'll still be here. You'll still follow along. Take some profits at some point. All right, everybody. That's it for today. Like today's video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. What we talk about is relatively time sensitive, but that's it for this one. I appreciate you guys, especially during this time. This is the good time. Thanks so much. See you guys in the next one. Adios.